Hello and welcome back to the Short Story Starter. This is episode 2 of our series. In this episode I will be sharing some of the submissions from our first video. Our first video was titled The Birthday Party and I had some fantastic submissions, and I'll be sharing 3 very different stories with you guys today, and then I will be setting our next story prompt. What I've done is I've added in little timestamps on the YouTube video so you can see the different story submissions, or if you want to skip ahead you can just click somewhere around here, I think, to try and find the story prompt. I'm not sure if that's the right direction. Hopefully it is. Without further ado, we're going to get straight into our first chosen submission. Just in case you missed it, the story prompt from the previous video was all about something called the birthday party. The premise that I set was that there was a birthday party that you'd been invited to, a close friend's birthday party, and there was food, there was games, there was activities going on. There were a collection of presents to one side of the room. Later in the afternoon, your friend sat down to open up those presents. They got some normal sort of presents, but then towards the end there was this large, intricately wrapped present. They took their time opening it, and when they did, they looked inside and they gasped. And that was where I left the story. The idea with the short story starter is that you take the prompt and then you run with it and you do whatever you'd like with it. And I can tell you that these 3 submissions that I'll be sharing today went in very different directions. Without further ado, we're going to get straight into our first submission. The first submission that I'll be sharing with you is from a young boy called Nawa, who is in year 5 and lives in Thailand. His submission goes off on a wonderful story. He took the original idea and completely made the story his own. It's fantastic. I hope you enjoy it. As Bob opened the box, everyone gasped in surprise with big, interested eyes. It was something magical and glowing, and seemed to look like a magical feather that was very rare. Bob picked it up gently and saw a hidden sign that said, "I am somewhere high, close to a land." Bob thought it was a riddle and told everyone, "Who will come with me and work out the riddle?" The next day was school time, so Bob and his friends sat down with his friends. The teacher, who was called Miss Bella, was teaching division to everyone. Many days passed and it was Saturday. Bob and his friends were packing their stuff to go on an adventure to work out the riddle, and Bob asked, "How can we get high?" "I know, my dad is a police officer. Maybe I can use my dad's helicopter," shouted Bob. "Let's go," said Bob in excitement. Bob was amazed by the helicopter and everyone jumped in. They flew high up into the sky, but where could they land? Maybe it could be on a mountain. Soon, Bob and his friends were landing on Mount Everest, and they saw a flag in the distance. They dashed to the flag and as quick as a bull and read the riddle on the flag in excitement. The riddle said, "I am in a hot area with not moving life. What am I?" Bob told everyone that it's bedtime. "Let's figure it out tomorrow," exclaimed Bob tiredly as he yawned. When it's home time, Bob and his friends went to the library to find out the riddle. As Bob picked up a random book, he suddenly realised that the book cover showed somewhere hot, and he turned a page and read the text. "The desert is hot, and not many creatures live there." "It's the desert!" screamed Bob as he threw the book away. Bob and his gangsters jumped on the helicopter and flew away to find the desert. 20 minutes passed and they finally found the desert. So they landed and walked on the hot, scorching sand. Bob had fallen into a deep hole with paper underneath his feet. Bob lifted up the paper and read it, and it said, "I am in your city in a deep, dark area which is made by nature." I know, it's a cave, cried Bob. As quick as the speed of sound, Bob and his friends hopped in the helicopter and went to the city. As soon as they found the dark cave, they dashed into the dark place. And they were investigating if there was a trap. Bob found a small button on the wall and he pushed it. Suddenly, the wall tore apart and a bunch of gold was shining around the room. Bob and his friends counted how much gold there was, and in total there were 24 gold blocks. How can I give 24 gold blocks to my friends? Asked Bob. Oh wait, I remember that we learned about division in our maths lesson. So 24 divided by 6 equals 4. So each of my friends can get 4 gold blocks each. Bob went home happily and went to sleep. The end. Our second submission comes from a young girl called Roma, who was also based out in Thailand and is in year 6. Her story goes like this. The present was pink and sparkly with a yellow ribbon on top. Mickey unwrapped and opened the present. Everyone around Mickey gasped. It was someone's smelly old socks. Ugh. Mickey was grossed out about it and his face turned green. The one who did this was Mason. He was the meanest, stinkiest and most selfish person that Mickey had ever seen. Mason burst out laughing and pointed to Mickey. Mickey was embarrassed, so he covered his face and started crying. He went into the bathroom. One of Mickey's classmates called Bella, but her family liked to call her garlic bread because she was tall, like garlic bread. Bella went into the bathroom to catch up with Mickey. Bella saw Mickey sitting beside the sink, and Bella cheered up Mickey by giving him a small gift. Then Mickey opened the gift, and it was a picture of him blowing candles on a cake. By the way, my name is Bella, and I'm new here, said Bella. Mickey sniffed. My name is Mickey, replied Mickey. The clock struck 12, and it was time for some party games. Mickey and Bella were excited, so they rushed the hall that was full with balloons, fancy lights, food and snacks to celebrate Mickey's birthday. Mickey was excited. Everyone was enjoying the party, and the best part was the piñata. When it was nearly home time, Mickey wanted to have revenge on Mason. But Bella told him not to, or else you'll get in trouble. So Mickey decided to forgive Mason, because it's the right thing to do. Mickey told Mason, and Mason was sorry, and they each said goodbye with a happy smile. Bella was surprised that Mickey chose to do the right thing, and her mum had arrived just in time. Bella waved as she was walking through the corridor. Mickey, Bella and Mason were friends now, as they met at school. The end. Our third submission comes from a young girl called Pun. She is in year 5 and she is also based out in Thailand. Here is what she did with the story prompt. There was a label on the present and it was written in beautiful cursive letters. He slowly unwrapped the present with excitement. And inside there were hundreds of tiny crumpled pieces of paper. Carefully, he dug his hands into the mysterious pile of crumpled paper. He dug and he dug for about 20 seconds. The first thing was a blackboard. He was confused. He continued to find more. As he searched through the papers, he found a white, small stick. It was chalk. He was facing his biggest fear. Tears fell down his eyes and through his cheeks, remembering his fear of chalk and the knot in his heart. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed hearing the 3 different submissions that I chose to share with you this week. They were fantastic, and the reason I chose them was because they all went in completely different directions. Some wonderful messages to be learned from those stories, and just some fantastic imagination on show. I'm now going to share with you the next writing prompt. And this writing prompt is called What's in the Lab? I want you to imagine that you are a spy and you've been told that you have to break into a top secret science facility. All you've been told is that inside that facility there are scientists doing experiments on animals. At midnight, you finally manage to break into the facility. You are completely undetected. No one knows you are there. You lower your night vision goggles and you start making your way through the facility, trying to find any evidence of the experiments that the scientists are carrying out. As you walk down the hallway, you see in the distance a large laboratory or lab with the label on the side, Animal Experiments. It seems like a pretty obvious place to go and investigate. As you make your way down the corridor, an alarm starts blaring out. Red flashing lights everywhere. People in the distance start screaming. You keep walking forward and you reach the door. As you open the door, the room is empty. On the left-hand side is a very large glass cage. Shattered, broken glass everywhere. Something has escaped. You look to the side and you see a pile of notes. As you start reading through the notes, you realize the scientists were trying to merge together two different types of animal. It seems that they were successful and that the animal, whatever animal it was, has escaped. And that's where you come in. That's your story prompt. You have to decide what were the two different animals, perhaps even three different animals. Were they trying to help people by merging these two animals together? Were they trying to do it for evil purposes? What happened to the animal? Was it still in the facility somewhere? Had it managed to break out completely to the outside world? You are going to choose what happens next. If you would like to get involved, please write your short story using that prompt and then email it to theshortstorystarter@gmail.com. I look forward to reading through your submissions. See you soon.